Charlie Morrissey lay on his goat hair mat and closed his eyes. The melodious flow of the Drow instructor's voice calmed him as she walked the room through a grounding meditation. Feel the comfort of the stone below you and the stone above. Helene was a no-nonsense woman with pale lilac skin and ashy hair. She controlled the room, reminding Charlie of the highly competent but terrifying nun who had taught calculus in his high school. Focus, Charlie. You're not supposed to be thinking about nuns. You're supposed to be thinking about the comfort of the stone above. Charlie imagined several tons of rocks dropping on his head, which was not comforting. Okay, try the comfort of the stone below. Unfortunately, his butt was falling asleep, and a ridge of granite was digging into his left leg. His whole body was cold, and the chill he felt at the homestead was worse on the floor. The Drow didn't easily get cold, and the clothing they'd provided him with, while soft and very comfortable, did little to keep him warm. He'd wound up fashioning a poncho from one of Ellis's thick-knit blankets and wore it at all times. If the Drow thought it was weird, well, they already thought he was weird. A poncho wasn't going to change things. Footsteps crunched nearby, and Helene's melodious voice rang out again. The earth is full of dark spaces. Even the surface above the caverns has its night. When you move through the world, notice the shadows around you. They are your friends. If you cannot find them, reach deeper, because the darkness is always there. A shiver ran up his spine. Charlie, who had slept with a nightlight for longer than he would admit to anyone, was still getting used to the Drow's love for darkness. In their fairy tales, Drow children were snatched by witches during the day, when their invisibility powers were diminished. Fabric rustled by Morrissey's ear. Helene moved through the room almost soundlessly, but when she spoke, she was very close. Feel the shadows move around you. It was impossible not to. Since he'd been injected with Ellis Burton's blood, the swirling purple-black nebulas, as deep and intense as small galaxies, had intruded into his every waking moment, not to mention some of his dreams. He ate his cereal with light-sucking clouds caressing his ankles below the table, and when he closed his eyes to go to sleep, tissue-thin sheets of shadow magic appeared behind them. It was eerie, and Charlie's insomnia in the first few weeks had been bad enough that he'd begged Claire to prescribe sleeping pills for him. She told him to wait another 2 weeks, at which point he was at the homestead.